Hi everyone, this is Board Games and Bourbon. I'm Glenn Flaherty, and right now I want to talk to you about Iron Curtain, which is a brand new Cold War game, kind of based on the idea of 13 days. Now, whereas 13 days takes longer, like 40 minutes, is based on being aggressive and having restraint to not start a nuclear war, this one takes about 15 minutes. And it's all about aggression and card play. Not only what you play, but when you play it. Now, the way this game basically works is as follows. You're going to have this little placard here, and this keeps score in the game. What you're going to do is this little center mark splits the difference between the US and the USSR. The game ends in one of two ways. If this little marker goes all the way to either extreme, either there or there, the game is over instantly. Or the other way you do it is this marker moves a little bit in one direction or the other. And whatever side it ends up on by the end of the game is the winner of the game. Now, how do you decide who wins the game and how does the scoring occur? Well, each of these cards represents different countries, and it gives you a few different pieces of information in there. One, it tells you what country it is. It tells you how many cards are in this region. So in this case, we have Zaire. It is from Africa. There are going to be 4 Africa cards, which is important to note. And it has a +1 bonus, a power, an affiliation, and a command cube. Okay, a lot of information on there. Okay, well, the name of the country is just the name of the country. Africa is the part of the regions from, and there are 4 cards. When 4 cards of this region are put down, you're going to score that region. You're going to get 1 point for every country in the region that you have the majority of cubes on. You're going to get a +1 bonus if you have a majority throughout that region. The faction here tells you that if this is your faction, if you're playing as the USSR, you're playing either as the USSR or as the US. If you're playing as the USSR, you get your choice of putting down a cube or taking a power. If you are the US, for example, but you have this card, the power automatically goes to USSR, and you get the cube. When you put the cube down, you put it either in a country you already have influence on or one adjacent to it. Now, in the beginning of the game, you're going to notice there's no Africa on the board, okay? You have to put your cards next to a country that is already on the board, have it be contiguous. Sometimes in the game, that's just not possible. So if there is no other part of that region on the board, you put it wherever you wish. The game does in general start with a Europe card. It even says starting card. 1 of each color token goes on there. There are 6 cards in Europe, and you get a bonus of 3 if you dominate that. And a lot of times, these cards are going to be dominated twice because there's actually 2 phases to the game. And to discuss how that works, we're going to shuffle this up and do a little bit of setup. Each player is going to get 5 cards to begin with. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, I'll put that over there for now. Now, even though there's 5 cards, you're only going to play 4, and then you're going to bury the other. So let's just say this person is playing as the USSR player. I have Vietnam I might want to play right away. Let's say I took their turn. I put it down. There's nowhere I can connect it to. I have the choice right now of going 1, 2, 3, 4 command cubes. Now, I could drop it here in Europe because I have a red representing me in Europe, or next door into Vietnam. Okay, those are both good things. The power on the card says USSR may infiltrate 1 influence cube into Vietnam and all of its neighboring cards. That would be a really important power at the end of the game if I had a bunch of cards. I must also say there's a card in the game that lets you move a card around the board. So just imagine if I first played a card that said I can move one of my territories and I plop it right in the middle of things. And then I played this card that says I can put influence on everything. Really, really powerful card. Now that's one way to start the game. You start it with intimidation. I could also start with this card. Now, again, I'm playing as USSR. This is Israel. Again, it has nowhere to connect to. Okay. However, the US player does get to choose the power to use first. In this case, it says US may infiltrate 3 influence cubes if the USSR is ahead on ideology. Now, by putting that down, what I've done is negated the power because we're tied at the moment. So even if the US try to activate that power, they receive no benefit. Now I get the 3 cubes, the 3 influence cubes. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop 1 in Europe because I can, and then 2 into the Middle East. And that was my first action. So that was a really smart play. I negated their power. Okay, now let's take a look over at the USSS cards, or the US cards. They have almost all their own cards, and they have one card that is for the USSR. The power in this card says USSR may command 3 influence cubes into Central America and South America. Okay, so you know what? I'm going to go ahead and play that card right now, because what that does is, again, it's a power they cannot use. Okay, and now I get 1 influence cube. And I am playing as blue, as the United States. I'm going to put my 1 cube there. Now, so far, nothing too bad is happening. A lot of low point country regions. Africa has a +1, Middle East has a +2. You're probably really hoping out for Europe because you have the potential of scoring 9 points there. But let's see what goes on. You're going to play your cards like this over and over. Let's see here. Let's see, I have another US card here. Now, remember, it's not all bad. Even though I have some US in my hand, what that means is in round 2, because remember, we had a bunch of cards left over, they're going to come out, and a lot of those cards are going to be in the USSR's favor. So it's actually kind of good that I'm burning cards at the moment. Let's see what this card says here. It says, France. If I play this card, in Iran, US may remove 2 USSR influence cubes and may then infiltrate 1 influence cube. Okay, so Iran is not on the board. So once again, I'm going to play it. Now, because this is France and that is Europe, it is connected, it must touch. And it has to touch orthogonally. Again, that's a power I offer to the other player. They cannot use it. I do get the influence cube. I'm next door to Europe. I'm going to put my thing right there. Right now, I have influence on 2 out of the 6 things that might be in Europe, so on my head. Okay, the other player is going to go. They have nothing but cards that benefit themselves. So what do they want to do here? They can't close the deal on any of the countries. I need 2 cards to close the deal on South America. I need 6 for Europe. I have 2 Europe cards. That's a maximum of 4. Japan needs 3 cards. There's none. Okay, so it doesn't really matter. Let's just play this card here. It says here, US may infiltrate 2 influence cubes into a single card. I'm going to put this right here. And instead of doing that, I'm actually just going to take the 3 influence because it's more. I'm going to take those 3. I'm going to place it. Okay, so I'm in Zaire. I'm going to place it next door in Germany. I'm in Europe. I'm going to place it next door into France. So that was a way of me getting influence down. I could not have done this. I could not have said Europe is next to France. I drop it there. France is next to West Germany, and then I go there. I can't do that because I can't chain. I can only go 1 step away. And now Europe is here. I'm going to try to get some influence into Middle East, Israel. Okay, back to the USS player's turn. Let's try to get some powerful stuff out here. All right, I'm going to go ahead and I am going to drop my Vietnam card. And because it's my faction, it says a USSR may infiltrate 1 influence cube into Vietnam and all its neighboring cards. Now, that's a total of 3 cards, but I actually get more if I use the command. So I'm going to go ahead and use the command. If at any point, that's a lot of cubes. At any point, if I run out of cubes, I'm allowed to shift cubes from an area to wherever I want. It's kind of like saying the troops are finite. So Israel's going to drop 2 into there. I'm going to drop another one into France, and I'll drop a 3rd into France because I definitely want to rule a little bit in there. Okay, and we're getting pretty close to the end of round 1, which has a fun little twist because at the end of the round, 1 of your cards has to be buried as a bonus for the end of the game. Okay, this is another Asian card. I don't want to close out the Asian deal yet because I don't want USSR to take the lead. So maybe I'll take a gamble on Poland. I'm going to put Poland right here. And it says USA gains 1 ideology point for each neighboring card to Poland they dominate. Ooh, that would be really good for later. Now, ideology moves me on this track. That's really good. If I put it now, I'm only going to get 1. I might want to hold on to that. I'm going to go ahead and put my Asia card down. It says right here, USA may command 3 influence cubes into the Middle East and Africa. Okay, so that's actually more powerful. It's a USA card that gives me 3 cubes. The command cubes, it lists are 2, but the power gives me 3. So it says Middle East. I'm going to drop 2 into the Middle East and 1 into Africa. I'm going to go ahead and do that. Okay, now over here, I have Italy and I have Europe. Now, the choice that comes here is, whichever one of these cards I use now, the other one gets buried for the end of the game. That's important because the command cubes are going to be bonus points for that player. I believe it's up to 3 points. So if I use the Italy card now for myself, Pakistan, which is influenced by America, would give 1 point to the Americans. If I use this now, I'd have 1 point at the end of the game for myself. And this is a straight ideology movement on this tracker. So it's a little bit more powerful at the end of the game. But the power on the card itself says gaining 1 ideology point. So this might negate. You never know. So there's a little bit of a gamble in there. This card here says Pakistan. U.S. moves up to 2 USSR influence cubes from neighboring cards into Pakistan. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this. I'm going to put Pakistan over here. So I put this card down. Because it is associated with the U.S., they get to use their power that says they can move 2 cubes from neighboring cards into Pakistan. Well, there are none. Well, I'm going to put it right there, actually. All right, and let's see. I'll put it right here. That way I'll stay in camera. There are none moves, so you can't do any. So what's going to happen is I get 1 influence cube, and I'm going to put it right there. Now, what's taken place is this is the first time I've actually placed all 3 cards that belong to the Asia region. So now we go ahead and we score that, okay? So I have influence in this area. We're going to count all the cards. Individual countries. This is Vietnam. USSR has the lead. We go to Japan. USSR has the lead. We go to Pakistan. Neutral. Nothing's on it. Now, out of the 3, 2 are controlled by USSR. That means USSR has the overall influence and gets the bonus of 2. Boom, boom. And just like that, we haven't even dealt with Europe or anything like that. I've gotten the lead significantly through Asia. Now, it's important to also remember, at the end of the game, this is color-coded. This kind of tells you what country order you're going to be scoring. I know number 1 is Europe, number 2 is Middle East, number 3 is Asia, number 4 is Africa, number 5 is green, which I always forget what that is, and then number 6 is going to be, looks like it's going to be South America, okay? And now the last player is going to decide what they want. I might want to swing it back in my favor. USA may infiltrate 3 influence cubes into cards where US already has influence cubes. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put down Poland and I'm going to bury this for me. Now remember, those cards are going to come out at the end of the game as straight ideology bonuses. Whoever's ahead gets the difference there. In Poland, it says here 2 points or US gains an ideology point for each neighboring card that I dominate, which is only 1. So I may as well just take 2 at the moment. I'm going to go ahead and drop, okay? And that's the end of that. Now we're going to go on to round 2. Round 2 basically starts with the person who's behind gets to go. In round 1, the USSR player gets to decide who goes, and that's a lot like 13 days. And 1, 2, 3, 4 for that player. 1, 2, 3, 4 for this player. And then you're just going to go again. And that's really all you got to do to the game. It plays really fast. There's a lot of things you can do that kind of play out really interestingly. I would encourage you to go ahead and get it. I think I got this game online, boy, between $10 and $20. Had a really good time with it. See if you enjoy it. Okay, so that is Iron Curtain, everyone. Until next time, I will talk to you, and I hope you take care. Bye.